What's up, brother? It's your boy, Mike Muse. Welcome to the Conversation, the Mike Muse Show. I am so excited to be in conversation with my next guest. You guys know that I love country music, and I am always talking about country music, and I love talking about country music as black music, and I love talking about country music from the diaspora. And you know I have had some great country music artists up here that loves to come back to the Mike Muse Show, but there has been one that has been so elusive for me for whatever reason. I've just been like, when do I get my chance with her? The Super Bowl had the chance to have her. Country Music Awards had the chance to have her. The Grammys have had a chance to have her, but I have yet to have the chance to have her. Even my frat brother Jamel, yes, I'm looking at you, he has had the chance to be in her company and her graces, and I just didn't get that opportunity. I think you know who I'm talking about right now. I am talking about this individual who has been Grammy nominated for Best Country Album, Best Country Solo Performance for Black Like Me, Best Country Song, and Best Country Solo Performance for her title track, Remember Her Name, the one, the only, Mickey Guyton.
Oh my God, that was an intro that I just could not have planned for better myself. Thank you so much. It's
What's
such an honor.
happened?
I'm here.
Welcome.
I'm here finally meeting you. I can't
Finally.
believe it's just been now that I get to meet you, and it's such an honor to be here today.
I believe timing is everything.
Timing is
Whenever
everything.
it's ready. But just know every time you go on a stage or you go on a TV, I am just so rooting for you, not even secretly, publicly, right?
I could
I
cry. I had
always
no
think about for
idea.
a black woman to go on this space and stage in the country music era and fight for your identity and to lean into your identity and not to be afraid of it. I find it so challenging and so hard. And you do it with grace and style, and you make it look effortless, and your talent and your vocal performance and gift just soars. And so just thank you for your gift, and thank you for leaning into a very difficult, challenging space.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. It is truly, truly an honor to be here with you
Yeah,
today.
and to own the song Black Like Me and to write things you write about. Why did you feel not the need, because we know why the need was there, but why did you feel the freedom to write it?
You know,
I've always been curious about
I
that.
didn't have a choice at that time. I was in a really bad situation where I felt for years, up until like 3 weeks ago, that my voice was silenced. And I felt like I was in these shackles and I didn't have any other avenue other than writing songs. So I wrote this song not thinking that it was ever going to be heard by anybody, but it was more of therapy for me. And that's where it came from. That's the heart that is in that song was therapy for me. That was my therapy. And to know that people resonate with the song, to hear you talk about it, it's just, I am blown away right now. I'm truly, truly blown away right now.
Well, just know that you have a fan over here on the other side of this microphone.
Thank
And I'm
you.
just I think about country music. I think about country. The reason why I love country in so many different ways, but the writing is so telling. It's
writing.
so natural and organic. And I'm hearing that coming to you now of why you wanted to write that.
Well, I think I love country music so much because it's not a fad. Like, it's consistently just who you are, and I feel safe in that. You know, so often, you know, we have to put on these different hats, especially in a lot of other genres, but country music specifically, they seem to celebrate you just being you. Like, if you want to have a family, if you believe in God, if you believe in just life, like, you're able to just be that. And I think that that's what's so beautiful in country music, that you just can be.
You can.
You can just be.
And you can ask questions. I
You
think
can
there's
ask
something
questions.
interesting about, I think you have another song that I enjoy. I might mess up the title, but I Still Pray to God, or God,
Yes, I still pray.
I still pray.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that, just because I'm in a different space right now.
Yeah.
And I've just been centering on God recently.
Yeah.
You know, I've had a journey with religion
Me too.
and spirituality.
Oh my God, me too.
Right? And these last couple of weeks have been so challenging for me.
Yeah.
And Mickey, I got to the point where I didn't even know what to pray for. You know, when life is so complicated, you don't even know what to pray for.
Yes.
And so I've actually turned to your music
Yeah.
and was like, I still pray.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, why do you still pray?
Well, like you, I've had a very complicated relationship with spirituality, with God. You know, I grew up in a Southern Baptist home. You know, the guilt, the everything that we have gone through, I've dealt with so much of that has been really complicated. And not to preach to anybody, but I believe in Jesus, and I believe that the reason that Jesus is here to give us peace and ability to just live our lives, because reality of it is we're not perfect. We can't be perfect. And I believe the reason that God sent Jesus to die for our sins was so that we don't have to be that perfection. No matter who you are, no matter what you are, no matter who you love, whatever, God knows, Jesus specifically knows and understands who you are because he took on all the sins of the world, so that when you're sinning or whatever they call sinning, he can go up to God and be like, hey, I understand that because I took on that sin. So give them some grace and give them some love.
Growing up Southern Baptist, though,
Yeah.
Mickey, how did you get free of that dogma? Because that seems to be more of a spiritual walk.
It's a spiritual warfare for me. You know, I'm with you. I have a complicated relationship in the sense that, like, going into the church, it's really hard for me to set foot in a church because, like, you can go and sometimes things seem for show to me. And the reason why I still pray, if you want me to really be honest, I was going through a lot in my life. You know, I had no money. I was broke. I was depressed. I was living in a long distance relationship with my husband and wondering why God put me in Nashville. Like, why was I here? Why was I pursuing this genre that is so difficult, not only for Black people, but for women? And why was I put in this? And so one day, if you want me to be honest, I cussed out God.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
I said, why would you put me here? How dare you? All of the things. And I remember I was like, and I'm going to open up this Bible and you better have something encouraging to say to me. Yeah. And whatever verse I looked at, it was like so humbling. I started laughing out loud because the verse, whatever it was, I don't remember it. I should have written it down, but it was basically like, humble yourself. Like, what makes you think that you deserve something over somebody else? And it made me like look at my blessings and think, wow, like, I'm okay. Like, I know life is crappy for me, but there's someone that has it worse than me. And I need to be thankful for what I have right now. And that's the reason why I still pray. Because especially now that I'm a mother of a 2.5-year-old boy and life is completely out of your control. And when you don't know what else to do, when you have no other answers, that's why I pray.
I love that. Just so you know, I will share with you too the moment I cussed out God.
See?
I've had the same moment. It was years ago. He and I had a different conversation earlier this week on the plane. But a couple of years ago, I was in LA, and at the time, it was a few years ago, and at the time, I was kind of coming into like this newness of success, right? It's like, don't be afraid of your own success. But there was this moment where I had gotten flued out for the first time by an organization or an entity, and no one had ever invested anything like that into me before. And they gave me the red carpet treatment, and I had never done that before. And they, at the time, put me up in the most beautiful hotel. I have never been in that type of 5-star overlooking the ocean. And I remember going to the terrace and just weeping and asking, like, what are you doing to me? Like, I'm not this special. I'm not this great. You know what I mean? You never had nice things. I have had nice things growing up, but you know what I mean? In terms of, it was more so for me, my work being valued. And at that time, I never had my work valued, and I didn't know how to receive it. And I let him have it.
Yeah.
Right? And
it's
then
like, how dare you?
How dare you? But he brought not a Bible verse, but he brought an angel to me the next day. I happened to have a coffee meeting with someone I never knew before, and she felt something on me, and she spoke life into me. So I believe God brings angels into your life in that moment. He does,
those earth angels.
I've had that.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, now that we're talking about this, because I saw that you did the cover "If I Were a Boy" by Beyonce. Yeah. And Beyonce has a song called "Church Girl."
Yeah.
And I heard you say that it's, you know, difficult being a woman in the country, also to the religion and God. I'm just wondering, that song "Church Girl," did that relate to you and resonate with you? I'm always curious, for Black women, does that song resonate with the complicated relationship we all have with religion? For guys too, but I'm just curious.
Yes, absolutely. That was one of my favorite songs on the album, besides "Break My Soul." Like, that was one of my favorites too, and "Energy," and a lot of other ones. But that one specifically just really resonated with me in a sense of, like, that's what I grew up in. I was a Deacon's. daughter.
Oh, okay. y'all don't know what that means. So there's two classifications. A lot of times, there's like you have the preacher's kid, which they have their own sort of complications.
The deacon's kid is underneath the preacher's kid.
The preacher's kid, and they have even more, I think, visibility because in some churches, more or less, the deacons actually run the church.
Yes.
Depending upon your church and your situation.
Yes.
And so for you to be a deacon's kid.
I was a DK kid.
Wow.
I was. And there's so much trauma in that. You know,
Tons.
like I'm still unpacking a lot of that. I'm still unpacking that my mom would talk to my pastor about me as a kid and my figuring out life. Like there's some stuff that ain't none of their business, you know? So yes, I mean, Beyonce period resonates with me, but that song specifically did resonate with me.
Yeah. So then being a deacon's kid, did that, an audience, for those who may not know it, it's kind of a relationship about how do you exist in the secular world and in this religious world, and how do you balance?
I went trick-or-treating once in my life.
Oh my gosh, Mickey, that says it all right there. So, because, we have Saints Day. Yes. You know what I mean? There's like Devil's Night. We call it Saints Day or Halloween. Saints. We grew up in the same
I know these country music listeners can relate. We've all been there. Yes.
So then did that, and now I'm here with it. I think you're guiding me. So you now are the co-host.
Yes.
I'm just here to help you tell your story, right?
Yes.
Did that help inform, what are you going to tell her then? Because now I'm listening to you.
I think I had this voice in me all along, and I just didn't know. Mm-hmm. I've gone through a lot in my life, and I know what it feels like to be silenced. I know what it feels like. I know what it feels like to be discriminated against. I have all of these, and the thing with me, and what really inspired what are you going to tell her is I don't always stand up for myself. Like anything that I've ever done in the last 3 years had nothing to do with me. And all I wanted was other people after me or that are in this situation or pursuing music right now at this very moment. I wanted them to feel that they had someone that would stand up for them. Mm. And that's why I wrote, what are you going to tell her? I've been in country music for a long time, and I've watched women go through so much, and it doesn't matter what color you are.
Yeah.
We're all going through the same thing in this specific industry and all the sexual harassment and all of that kind of stuff. So again, that was me writing about that. It was writing how do we make this better for the people after us? What are you going to there's so many men in this industry that have daughters. And if you have a daughter, how can you wake up every single day and not do everything that you can to make sure that the apple of your eye is safe and has the tools to live in this man's world?
It was so poignant.
Thank you.
And I love the rhetorical aspects of the question.
Because I don't have the answers.
I don't think anyone does. And I think that's okay. And that's why I've always loved your artistry is
Thank
and it kind of starts off where we start the conversation where you just you don't have to be perfect.
You don't.
Right? And I think sometimes that's why I love country writing is that you don't have to have the answers. But it's okay to ask the question.
It's okay to ask the question.
And to get the conversation going and started. When you wrote it and you completed it and the recording of that song, did you know it will resonate and be as powerful? I'm always wondering when artists, they have a hit, do they really when they walk out the studio that night?
I didn't. I wrote that song. Again, it was a therapy session. And the reason I wrote that song was because this was in January of 2020 is when I wrote that song. And I went to a Grammys after party, and I was meeting some people over at some streaming platform.
A lot was happening then. We don't have to go into it, but there was a lot that was happening in society.
There was a lot that was happening in society, absolutely. So before it all crashed and burned, not crashed and burned, but until, people started being awoketh, whatever the term is, I was trying to promote my single Black Like Me. I had finished it. I had it mastered. I had it ready to go. And I remember standing in front of a CEO dressed in his velvet, I'm sure, Tom Ford suit or something like that with his top of the line scotch and a perfectly clean glass. And I remember walking up to a meeting with my manager at the time. And I shook his hand and I batted my eyelashes. I saw myself stand up straight and turn on this look for a song talking about the oppression of Black people. And I remember walking away from that so embarrassed and disgusted with myself that me as a woman felt like I needed to do that to get a song played.
Wow.
And I flew back the next morning and wrote that song. And I couldn't even, that song is the original vocal, and I cried all the way through it.
Oh my God. That just kind of needs a little bit of a moment.
It was.
Just to let that settle and let that sink in.
Yeah.
One that you felt like a woman in that moment had to own her sexuality in order to advance. But how many times have women had to do that and to feel that they needed to do that?
Still doing that.
And still doing that to be heard, to be seen. I think about that dynamic of like power suits or suits in the boardroom for women. I think about what you guys have to go through. I even thinking about it just in the sense of like artistry and how sometimes you hear music execs say they'd rather work with a male artist than a female artist because so much hair, makeup, looks, the things that you guys have to go through.
Yeah.
I think the proof is in the pudding, and this isn't shading anybody, nor is this about to bring her in this conversation. I'm not going to say her name, but there was a moment where a male artist and a female artist had to do a song together. The female artist came fully glammed out, and then the male artist just came in some khakis and a plaid shirt, and just again, it's just
with a baseball cap, like nothing.
The dynamics that you guys have to go through, and I think every listener out there can relate, whether you're in the music industry, nonprofit space, whether you're in the finance space, or just going to church.
Every single space that there is a space, yes.
And I just wanted to say for the honesty and bring that into the moment, because I don't think a lot of people would be as honest with themselves to say that, you know, they had to play into that sexual identity. But then the moment that you felt that you needed therapy, I think, Mickey, now that we're talking, I think maybe that's why that song is so powerful.
Yeah.
Because it was an honest moment.
It was.
And it was a breakthrough moment for you to say enough.
It was. I mean, I remember looking around that room. Wow. You know, we were at a Universal Grammy after party, and I saw Haley Steinfeld, and I saw Billie Eilish. I think I might even saw Chesley Christ. And I remember like looking around the room, and I just saw all these men in their business suits, and like all we were trying to do was just earn our spot. You know.
Yep. Mickey Guyton.
You are like bringing it all the way in.
Yeah, I think that is a perfect place to end the conversation, because I think for me, I can't wait to come have you back on the Mike Muse show.
I would love to be back. Please
because now
have me back.
I will. I think now we just got to the constitution of who Mickey is, right? And I think now that we know who Mickey is, we know now why you make the songs you make, your song choices, and how you perform and how you sing. Congratulations on coming off tour.
I'll be your biggest cheerleader for sure.
Thank you. Congrats for coming off tour with Shania Twain.
Oh my God, that was amazing.
Congrats to that.
Thank you.
You are crushing it. And audience, please make sure you get that song, Nothing Compares to You.
Yes, with Kane Brown.
With Kane Brown. And if you're not familiar with her entire discography, I challenge you immediately to go do it and support this amazingly gifted, talented human being.
I could cry right now. Thank you.
Mickey, you have a fan here. We love you. Until next time, folks. Peace.